Welcome to Stellos Stadium here in the Gate City of Nashua, New Hampshire, where tonight the Cardinals of Bishop Guertin welcome the Timberlane High Owls out of Plastow. Tonight's game is being recorded on NashuaETV. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Roby, and along with cameraman Tim O'Neill and executive producer Pete Johnson, we're pleased to bring you Division I NHIAA football action. Both teams are coming into tonight with identical 0-2 records and are in danger of putting themselves in dangerous territory early in this young season. Right now, the captains for both teams heading out to the 50-yard line for the coin toss. Captains for Bishop Guertin are number 21, Tyler Faulkner, number 78, Caleb Kearney, number 55 is Nick Cuneo, and number 1 is Sam Raitt. Bishop Guertin Cardinals are coached by Jeff Moore and his coaching staff. And a lot of people have talked about, as the quarterback goes, so too go the Bishop Guertin Cardinals. Sam Raitt does it all with his legs, with his arm, and he was an area of contention for head coach Kevin Fitzgerald out of Timberlane. He was the young man that Coach Fitzgerald said they had to be aware of at all times tonight in the game. And certainly the key to tonight's game, one of the ways that certainly that Coach Fitzgerald can have a successful night for his Timberlane Owl squad, is to go on long, sustained drives, be able to pound the football between the tackles and really keep Raitt off of the field. Bishop Guertin won the toss there, and they have deferred. So it looks like Timberlane will be receiving the opening kickoff. Captains shake hands there at the 50. Set to go greet their teammates. And we are set for NHIAA football action. Week 3 here in the young season. The 0-2 Bishop Guertin Cardinals squaring off against the 0-2 Timberlane Owls. As we mentioned earlier, this is an important game for both of these teams here tonight, as the losing team will find themselves in an 0-3 situation and really on the outside looking in for a postseason spot. A lot of coaches don't like to talk about postseason at this point in time, but it always gives the players something to think about, something to play for. So this is a huge game for both of these teams. Tonight's officials, our referee, Fred Russell. Our umpire is Thomas Pelletier. The head linesman is Peter Limbeck. Mitch Mastromateo is the line judge. The back judge will be Mark Redmond Jr. And the clock operator will be Jim Lally. And the Bishop Guertin Cardinals taking the field, as is Timberlane Regional High School. The Owls in their white shirts, maroon helmet, maroon pants, lining up at about the 50-yard line. Guertin in their yellow helmet, yellow pant, green shirt.
Matt Huntsman set to kick off for the Cardinals. Back deep for the Owls.
Set to kick the ball off is Matt Huntsman, senior kicker, 6 foot, 160-pounder, ready to put his foot into the ball. 2 men deep for Timberlane. Huntsman starts it off with a squib onside kick, but alertly there to recover it at his own 45-yard line is number 50. That was Cameron Sweet with a heads-up play, 5'11", 175-pound junior. And the Timberlane Owls will set up shop here on about their own 45-yard line. Make that about the 46, 1st and 10 Timberlane. So pretty good field position to start off here for Timberlane. They're coming out. And it looks like an inverted bone shotgun. And they're starting with a toss to the outside. That is number 2 for Timberlane. That was Farai Zhao, a 5'11", 197-pound senior. And he's brought down there after a pretty good gain of about 6 yards, bringing up a 2nd down and 4. They come out with the same formation. Double split end now is Timberlane. in that inverted shotgun bone, and they go right up the gut, and Zhao bounces it to the outside. He picks up pretty good yardage there before he's knocked out of bounds by a host of Cardinals, but not before he picks up a first down for Timberlane. So one of the things that Coach Fitzgerald talked about was establishing a good run game, not becoming too one-dimensional, but keeping the Cardinals off the field. The best defense could be a good offense here for Timberlane. Again, double split end, same formation. And now an off tackle play, but that's going to be stacked up there in the backfield by Bishop Guertin's number 44, Ethan Holt, a sophomore, 5'10", 165-pound sophomore. So Justin Berube on the carry, but Guertin was up to the task, a loss of about 3 yards, 2nd and 13 now for Timberlane. And as a coach, you hate to go negative yardage on a first down play. You always want to be working from the other side. So we'll see what Timberlane has dialed up here. 4-man, looks like a 50 for Guertin here. And that was, I'll tell you right there, number 8, Berube on the carry again, and that hole opened up like the Red Sea. And luckily for Guertin, senior Zach Keenan was there for the huge stop. Otherwise, he may have ended up in the end zone. So a big third down here for Timberlane. Have to think they're probably in 4-down territory, so maybe 2 plays here should they not get the first down. That double split end again. Guertin stacking the box, and it's going to be a student body type play with the quarterback keeping it, and he's got some running room. And he's going to have enough there for a Timberlane first down. That ball right there was carried by Dan Hayes, a 6'1", 170-pound junior. And they moved the stick, so 1st and 10 for Timberlane from the BG 21-yard line. And this is exactly what Coach Moore did not want. He did not want his defense to be on the field for long, sustained drives like this. Double split end, same formation the entire time for Timberlane in the shotgun. Barking signals, they go back to the toss, and Guertin waiting for it. Stacked up there by a host of Cardinals. We have a flag coming in late here. It looked like Cuneo on the tackle. And a penalty flag came flying in late on that one, so we'll have to see what the officials saw there. Early indications, you can see both teams pointing on the sidelines, but it's going to be a personal foul against Timberlane, so that's going to march them backwards. And it looks like the referee, Fred Russell, is making the call right now, a personal foul on Timberlane. And it is still 2nd down here. So 2nd down and about a mile here for the Owls. Now they're in a tight end to the left wing with a split end to the right, I formation, some kind of an inside counter. Bishop Guertin waiting there for that very play. That was number 5 on the carry, Brandon Freza for Timberlane. And the Bishop Guertin defense, very disciplined on the backside. Sam Soroyce on the tackle. So now 3rd down and long for Timberlane. Oh, scoreboard says 3rd. Says 2nd on the field. The referee prior to this play put up 2 fingers to signify 2nd down on that personal foul, but they have not made the adjustment on the sideline. So this is going to be a conversation that will be had after this play, I assure you. I formation, they run a wheel route. The post is open over the middle, and it's not going to matter because that pass complete to number 11, Andrew Wilson. Dan Hayes rifles that post pattern in there for the quick 6-0 score for Timberlane. And it looked like Guertin was paying particularly close attention to what was happening towards the Timberlane sideline. They had a wheel route going up the side, and the post came inside and caught him by surprise, just beyond the reach of the defensive back. So they'll go for the point after here. Number 13, Robbie Pinault to hold. The kick is up, and it is good. So that kick, number 88, Connor Ross. And with 8:22 to play here in the first quarter, Timberlane takes a 7-0 lead. And that kicker, Connor Ross, talking to Coach Fitzgerald yesterday, a member of the Timberlane soccer team, if it is the same young man, and he just came from a game over in Winnicunnet. So he is double dipping today. Sets the ball up on the tee. 2 Cardinals deep at about their own 3-yard line. Looks like number 5, Austin Hisco, talented sophomore. To the far side of the field. And it looks like maybe Daniel Otero, a 6'1", 170-pound senior. Ross to put his foot into the ball.
Number 6, Zachary Keenan. And number 32, Joey Lupo.
And maybe that is Keenan deep for Guertin and not Hisco, according to the public address announcer. Hard for these eyes to see. Yeah, it is number 6, and he takes the initial pop and bounces it back outside to the far sideline. Ends up on the Timberlane side of things.
Keenan on the kickoff return.
Penalty flag on the play.
Andrew Wilson. There's a flag on the play.
So this game early on, a lot of litter on the ground.
The initial call is holding against the Cardinals.
Looks like Guertin's going to be marched backwards. 10-yard penalty. It'll be first down, but they're going to lose some real estate here. And in high school football, field position is everything. So they'll march those yards backwards, and it will be 1st and 10 Bishop Guertin from about their 16 or so yard line. Guertin sets up trips, it looks like trips into the boundary with a split end to the field. One back behind Ray in a pistol formation. Ray barking signals, takes the snap and hands it off the right-hand side. And that carry was number 20, Ben Plumley, a sophomore running back. Kyle Gleason on the stop for the Owls, and they shift their defensive front. Once again, the Twins look both sides, double wide slot, one back behind Rate, and he again hands it off. Looks to be like Rate's trying to set up an RPO here, a run pass option probably to the field. They'll run a bubble and a bubble go off of that. And we'll see what he has dialed in here. Does Coach Moore try to get them to jump off sides and get a free play? Timberlane will have none of it. 3rd down and about a long 7. Rate barking signals again. And that route right there, Rate completes his pass to number 5, Austin Hisco. He went untouched down the seam and didn't get touched until after about a 20-yard gain. And they are ready to run their next play. Here comes, again, the same play, the run play. The zone, inside zone run by Ben Plumley. Once again, Guertin looking to set up an RPO to their right side. We'll see what they have dialed in. 2nd and 9 as Plumley goes for 1. Rate barking signals again. And again, Plumlee is met there just beyond the line of scrimmage. Initial hit looked to be by number 55, Dylan Tremblay. And Kyle Gleason also in on the stop, along with Kyle Willis. So a big third down here for Guertin. They check the play, get the signals from the sideline. 2-by-2 set here. Half back to Rate's left-hand side. Takes the snap, one-step drop, and fires on the out route, and it goes in and out of the hands of Victor Giletto. And that was definitely a first down. They ran that route to the sticks. The ball was right on point, and it just went through the hands. So a missed opportunity there for the Guertin Cardinals, and they'll send their punt team onto the field. Timberlane respecting the arm of Rate. And they gave a lot of cushion on that big third down punt. And Mr. Do-It-Everything, Sam Rate, is back to punt. You got to be aware of where he is all the time. He can run it, he can throw it, and he can punt it. Puts his right foot into the ball, and we have a double arm fair catch.
Fair catch by Justin Berube.
And that was number 8, Justin Berube, on the fair catch with twin safeties for Timberlane. So the Owls will start their second possession on the 25-yard line. 1st and 10, Timberlane. So now Timberlane lines up in their I formation. It is a tight end flanker to the left, I formation behind the quarterback, barking signals. And it's a fumble. That ball's on the carpet, and it looks like Guertin is going to recover. We'll see. No, they do not. Referee holds up his hand. Down is 2. Looked like a double dive play was trying to be run some sort by Dan Hayes, and he recovers that fumble following the ball. Huge loss there. Loss of about 9 for Timberlane, so they are 2nd down and 19, and when you go in the playbook, you don't have many plays designed to go 20 yards. So they'll have to get this back little by little, will Timberlane. And once again, field position, a huge factor. Timberlane will come out, slot trips into the boundary. Tight end is top left. The halfback is to the quarterback's right, barking signals. It looks like it's going to be some kind of a slow screen, and they let the Guertin defenders in untouched. And it looks like we have another flag down on the field. So you can always count on getting some kind of a screen pass in there, some way, shape, or form. And unfortunately, it goes for 9, but it is all for naught, as it appears that it's a holding call against Timberlane. And it will be accepted. So looks like they will repeat 2nd down here.
Owls called for holding. It'll be a spot foul, 10 yards. It'll be 2nd and long.
So 2nd and about 23 here for the Owls. They've used their slow screen. I have to see what else the Owls have dialed in as the clock continues to run with 3:58 here to play in the first quarter. Owls break their huddle slowly, come to the line of scrimmage. It is a tight end to the right with a slot set to the left, I formation. And it is a rollout, and he's just going to chuck that thing, and he's got a chance. And I will tell you, that is one of the better catches we have seen here at the high school level, as number 5, Brendan Frezza, runs to that ball, makes an outstanding catch. Dan Hayes rolled left, threw it well, great protection up front. And I'll tell you the thing that Frezza did there, he continued to run. He didn't run with his arms outstretched. He continued to run till he minimized where that ball was going to be, made an outstanding play. So it looks like an unbalanced line over here, probably some run play to the right side, and it will be a jet sweep to Timberlane. So they ran an unbalanced line with a split end. The tight end was covered, making him ineligible. So it was a numbers game at the point of attack, and BG, not quite ready for it, goes for about 6 yards on first down. So it'll bring up a 2nd down and 4 for Timberlane, as they are now in the territory of Bishop Guertin. The Owls break the huddle now, come out. And a tight end flanker to the left, split end right, I formation behind the quarterback. Just an isolation play right up the right-hand side. Stacked up there. And getting up slowly was Zoo for Timberlane. And they cannot afford to lose anyone else in that backfield. Hayes breaks the huddle, comes up under center, looks over the defense. Tight end wing to the left, split end right, 2 backs behind the quarterback. And again, it's Zoo off left tackle, and he could be off to the races here. And Zoo, with a great run down the left sideline. Keenan with the angled tackle takes him down, but not before Zoo runs for a 1st down for Timberlane. So they went right back to Farai Zoo there off the left-hand side. They've seen something that they like there on that side. Tight end wing to the left, split end. The wing comes in motion, and they're going to run a toss play. Again, it's a numbers game for Timberlane. And a good, tough run there by number 8, Justin Berube. And he's tackled there, stacked up on number 55, Nick Cuneo. 5'7", 185 pounds senior, trying to minimize that gain. So 2nd down and about 4 here for the Owls. And Guertin needs to get a stop here. We are inside of 1 minute to play in the 1st quarter. And that is number 25 for Timberlane, Matt Licata, 5'9", 139 pounds sophomore. He is stacked up by a host of Cardinals. Looks like it was led by James Creakle. So it's going to be a 1st and goal for Timberlane on about the Guertin 4-yard line as we head inside of 35 seconds here to play in the 1st quarter. Timberlane coming out in a double tight end set with a power eye to the left. And they will run a double ISO right there to Farai Zoo. And he pounds it in between the tackles, good for about a yard, maybe 2. 2nd and 3 from the 3-yard line. And that looks like Timberlane will be content to bring this to the end of the quarter. So at the end of 1 quarter of play, Timberlane has a 7-0 lead over the home team Bishop Guertin Cardinals, and they are threatening for more. It is 2nd down and 1 from the 1. And at this point, you have to think Coach Moore going to try and rally his troops for a big goal line stand here. Needs somebody to make a big play. They've shown some push early on, got the ball in the carpet, really could benefit by a turnover here. We'll see how they respond. And Timberlane has come in here and done exactly what Coach Fitzgerald has talked about. They're going to try and establish their ground game. They're going to pound it in there. They have tough kids, hard-nosed kids, and they're trying to set the tone here early. And as we talked about earlier, your best offense is keeping that Guertin offense off the field. Sam Raitt not on the field, not playing for BG when Timberlane has the ball. Coach Moore of BG indicated that this week was a very, very tough week of practice. It was like practicing in a phone booth. Very physical week. Players on the Guertin squad needed to bring their A game to practice all week. show some toughness, show some heart. And we'll see if they can dial something up right here from their goal line defense to keep Timberlane out of the end zone. Double tight end for the Owls. Power I lineup behind Hayes as he barks the signals. And he's going to keep the ball and go in off the left side for the Timberlane touchdown. So he went away from the power side, saw something in that A gap, and just ate it up for the 1-yard plunge. Robbie Pinault to hold the ball. Ross ready to try and add the extra point for Timberlane. Snap is a good one. Ball is down, up, and it is good. So with 11:58 to play here in the second quarter, the Timberlane Owls are out to a surprising 14-0 lead over the Bishop Guertin Cardinals. Still a lot of football left to be played here at Stellos Stadium in Nashua in this Division I contest. Both of these teams come into tonight with 0-2 records, and a loss here would not be a good thing for either one of these ball clubs. So Ross set to tee the ball up on the 40-yard line. And deep for Guertin goes number 32, Joey Lupo, number 6, Zachary Keenan. We'll see how this return sets up. Timberlane still in their huddle. Have to be aware if you're the Guertin front five. Ross marks off his steps, and we've mentioned this before. You see how all of the Owls are 5 yards away from the ball. That's a new rule about 2 years ago to make the kickoff a safer play, not giving them a large run, a large head of steam. Ross kicks a good one, and that's going to go into the end zone, and it's going to be blown dead for a touchback. So a great kick there by Ross is taken 1 yard deep, and anytime the ball is caught in the end zone, it is a dead ball. So they'll bring that out to the 20-yard line. 1st and 10 Cardinals. Bishop Guertin, of course, in the Western Division with Nashua North, Nashua South, Alvern, and Keene. Timberlane in the South Conference with Londonderry, Merrimack, Pinkerton, and Salem. Twins to both sides, Rate barking signals. Inside zone, wide open is the vertical. And Rate went vertical, and 2 Timberlane Owls just took themselves out of the play, and he's still on his feet, and he is going to go the distance. So just like that, Rate's pass completed, 80-yard strike to Joey Lupo. He broke some tackles, he went down the sideline. It looked like Timberlane may have been in some kind of a cover 3 of sorts. And it looked like 4 verticals were sent, and they just could not account for all of the eligible receivers. So just like that, one play, 80 yards. And the one thing Coach Fitzgerald said that Timberlane couldn't do, they just did. They gave up a big play. Rate to hold the point after. That's a high snap, but brought down well. The kick was down and up and good. So that was number 4, Matt Houtzman, the senior, kicking that ball through the uprights. And you see a renewed energy on the green and gold sideline here as Bishop Guertin now is right back in this thing with 11:44 to play in the first half. Rate strike good for 80 yards down the right hash. Broke a couple of tackles. And just like that, 14-7 now. New ball game. The Timberlane Owls have their kick return set up, a 5-2-2-2. Looks like deep for Timberlane is number 5, Brendan Freza, and number 25, Matt Licata. We have those numbers correct. Hodgman set to kick off for Bishop Guertin. We'll see where this return goes. We'll see what kind of kick we get. And just a high pooch kick would be well to fair catch that. Does not, but luckily it goes out of bounds. That'll be a penalty on Guertin. So they were trying to run under that thing and get possession. After a kick goes 10 yards in high school, it is a live ball. So what you always tell your up people is any high ball like that that does not bounce off the ground, you're waving that arm trying to make a fair catch. So Timberlane will set up shop at their own 35-yard line. They break the huddle. Dan Hayes brings the Owls to the line of scrimmage. Double slot to both sides. One setback to Hayes' right. He barks signals. Orbit motion deep and a cross buck, and that is wide open. And a flag is thrown. So it looked like a great play at the beginning. They call a hold on Timberlane. That's a costly penalty. So that holding call, and of course you have to believe anytime you run that play into the boundary to the home team side, the entire sideline will be yelling for that holding call, and they got it. So we'll replay first down.
Officials will mark off 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
And that is going to be a spot foul. So 1st and 16 for the Owls. 11:35 to play here. Hayes breaks the huddle. And they look a little confused as to how they're going to line up. Slot to the left, tight end wing to the right, one back behind. Motion into the boundary, trips. They run speed sweep into the boundary, which is a play that you have to question. Must have seen something there on film, but really nowhere to go as you run out of real estate. Tough play to run into the boundary, even if you have the numbers. Zachary Keenan there on the stop for Guertin, pushing him out of bounds. So 2nd down, they gave him 1. 2nd and 15 for Timberlane. Got to believe they're going to try and set up some kind of a counter play off of that. Tight end is to the left, slot trips right. One back to the right-hand side of the quarterback. Hayes barking signals, and he'll rodeo to the right, and you have 3 level routes. The intermediate route is wide open. Well read, the coverage came up and deep, and the intermediate came open across the middle of the field to Berube. So a big 3rd down play here. Keenan on the stop for Guertin, but not before a gain of 13. So 3rd and 2 here for the Owls. A big play here, and bottom line is even if they don't get it, they've established a little bit of field position, but as we saw in the last Guertin drive, that really doesn't matter. Rate just went 80 yards in one play. So a big play here for Timberlane. Looks like a tight end flanker to the right, split end left I formation behind the quarterback. And it's a quarterback keeper, and he has enough. Hayes faked the isolation off the left-hand side and rolled out. There was one defender there for Guertin who had a chance to make it, missed it. Keenan brought him down, but not before Hayes could get a 1st down. So 1st and 10 Timberlane from their 48-yard line. 10:05 to play here in the first half for Timberlane. And they break the huddle. Again, tight end flanker to the right with a split end left I formation behind Hayes. And this time they do come with an isolation play. And Guertin there up for the challenge. McConnell on the carry for Timberlane. Stacked up there by Kearney. Talking to Coach Moore this week, Kearney, one of the guys that he says when they need a leader on the field, Caleb Kearney's a guy that they go to. Second down and 9 here. So again, tight end, flanker right, split into the left, I formation behind Hayes. And now isolation to the right side. Guertin there waiting for it. Only a gain of 1, so another third down play coming up here. Expecting some kind of play action here, I'm thinking. So 3rd and about 6 for the Owls. Hayes surveys the defense. Again, tight end flanker right, split into the left with an I formation back behind Hayes. 3-step drop, slant route. It was initially broken up there by number 14, Chris Barillas, a junior for Guertin. Almost found the hands of Andrew Wilson, but he could not bring it in. So a 4th down coming up here for Timberlane. Sam Raitt deep to return this punt.
From the Cardinals' 49-yard line.
Set to punt is number 58, Kyle Gleason, a 5'10", 175-pound senior. He'll put his left foot into the ball, almost blocked there by Guertin. Raitt, and I'll tell you right there what happened. They blew the whistle, but the ball was laying on the carpet. That was actually a muffed punt, and that should be Timberlane ball. So an inadvertent whistle will cause Timberlane possession. They're talking about it right now. So it all comes down to when did that whistle blow? So Guertin dodges a bullet there. They will set up shop at their own 15-yard line. And Timberlane appears to be confused here. Looks like Coach Fitzgerald wants some kind of an explanation. And now the referees seem to be marching the ball backwards. They're going to replay the down. They are going to replay the down on the inadvertent whistle. So Timberlane loses twice in this scenario, and I'll tell you why. That was a pretty good punt that ended up on the 15-yard line, number 1. So good position for the defense to be in. Number 2, Raitt muffs the ball. But the inadvertent whistle gives second life to the Cardinals. So let's see if, and they almost blocked that one, folks. So let's see if they come after this one again. Kyle Gleason again set to put his left foot into the ball. It's a low snap, and they almost got it. And Raitt this time fields it from his knees. I'm not sure. Once he has that ball and he's down on his knees, the whistle should be blown unless he never had control of it. And again, confusion. Timberlane saying it's our ball, Guertin saying it's our ball, and they're going to give it to the Owls. So, and obviously from what happened in the play before, you shake your head, but Timberlane will take over 1st and 10. So that time Guertin almost blocks the punt. Raitt back to return it. Goes off of his hands while he's down on his knees. And if he had any control of that, it should have been blown dead right away. He must have fumbled it a little bit, never had control of it. So another muff by Bishop Guertin. Timberlane will set up in good field position. They're going unbalanced to the top of the field. And they're going toss sweep to that side. Guertin adjusted for it. But not before Farai gets maybe 2 yards along 1. 2nd and 8 for Timberlane. So Timberlane came out in an over formation, an unbalanced with a split end. They covered their tight end, and they ran a jet sweep to that side. Guertin held him to a minimal gain. And they run the same, looks like the same formation over here, but with wider twins. So the tight end is covered and not eligible, and he will block. And it looked like they just maybe were in a trap play of some sorts, and Guertin not fooled in the least by that. So the play call here, a little bit different than what we've seen thus far. Kearney again on the stop for Guertin. Been saying that name a lot. 3rd and 9 for the Owls. Hayes will break the huddle, and they'll come out in slot trips here with a tight end to the right. The setback is to Hayes' left. And a quick screen again, but Guertin sniffed it out, and it's going to bring up an interesting call on 4th down and about 6. Timberlane can get a first down here. They can get a first, but there is a flag. We'll see what happens. So, they're talking to the Guertin captain. Not sure if maybe they're saying it was a screen pass. They're going to call a hold or a block in the back, which is declined. So it's going to be 4th down and about 6. That ball close to the left hash. So Timberlane is going to send on the field goal unit, and their kicker, Connor Ross, who apparently played in a soccer game at Winnicott today. Not sure of the results of that game. So we'll see if Ross can put this through the uprights. Robbie Pinot on the hold, and referee calls timeout and says Timberlane calls timeout. So Timberlane calls timeout, probably going to try and shore up that protection up front because Guertin almost got to those last 2 punts. Coach Fitzgerald wants to talk it over and make sure everybody has their gap, everybody does their responsibility, and they block inside out. So if you're Guertin here and you can escape this with just a 3-point gain, it is a victory. Connor Ross lines it up, sets his block. He'll be kicking this from about the 18-yard line, so it's a 28-yard field goal. You add the yard line plus the 10 yards in the end zone. Guertin trying to get them to jump off sides. The hold is down, the kick is up, and that ball is no good. So Ross's kick was drilled off the block. Had a lot of power behind it, but it's the accuracy that counts here. So with 6:22 to play here in the first half, the Cardinals hang on and are down by just the 1 score, 14-7 Timberlane. And Rate will take over possession, 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Guertin would love to dial up a nice 80-yard drive here, eat up some clock, put this thing at a tie going into halftime. So we have a Twins to the right, split in left with a slot. And it's going to be a rollout. And that ball thrown low into the boundary. Rate's pass intended for Joey Lupo, but he one-hopped it into the boundary. And the clock stops, which is something that you got to be aware of now if you're Guertin. You don't want to give Timberlane another opportunity to score here before the half. Try to get him to jump with the quick count to get a free play. Timberlane will have none of it. Timberlane switches their front. Rate, again, barking orders in the backfield. And they run the bubble screen, the jailbreak screen, rather. And they're going to call either a hold or a block in the back, I'm thinking here, on Guertin. So the clock stops again. So Guertin runs the jailbreak screen.
Samuel's pass is complete to Zachary Keenan. Tackled by Justin Berube. There's a flag on the play.
Guertin set up ready to run their play, but unbeknownst to them, they're going to have to back up a little bit. So probably a half the distance spot foul. And this game has been riddled with yellow hankies on the field tonight. Ball will be placed at the 8.5-yard line. Well, although these eyes are seeing, yep.
The call on the field is a hold against the Cardinals. It'll be half the distance to the goal.
So again, with 6:11 to play, 2nd and long. Clock runs, trips to the right, split end left. And another flag. Maybe an illegal formation, maybe not. 7 men on the line of scrimmage. We'll see. An encroachment call on Timberlane, so they line up off sides. So there'll be some extra sprints run at practice this week probably for both teams. Twins to both sides, into the boundary and the field. The clock is wound. Rate looking to the sideline for the play, checks his wristband. Halfback to Rate's right-hand side as he barks the signals. And again, it's a cover 1 look. Dangerous throw there by Rate into the boundary. A tight cover 1 by Timberlane. They manned up on the 4, 1 and 2 receivers and kept a man deep over the top of it all. So another penalty flies, and it's going to be another hold on the Cardinals. So at this point, any penalty not really that big a deal because it's all half the distance stuff. But a smart move there by Timberlane in declining it. So 3rd and 18 for Bishop Guertin. And again, all that has transpired, only about 20 or 30 seconds have run off the clock here. Rate checks his wristband, looks down at the front, barking signals. Twins to the right and left. And the RPO right there. And poor tackling by Timberlane. Great hit there on the sideline, but not before his pass is completed. Number 5, Austin Hisco, picks up a boatload of yardage, but that's still going to be a 4th down play. So right there, with 6 minutes and change to play in the first half, Guertin was only able to run off about a minute of play clock. Penalties, incomplete passes. And Timberlane's going to get the ball back with a lot of time in this first half. And we'll see where that ball gets spotted as Hisco's punt goes out of bounds on the Timberlane sideline. And the referee's about to mark it, and he is going to mark that at about the Bishop Guertin 45-yard line. So they're going to set up shop in Bishop Guertin territory with 5 minutes and 33 seconds to play here in the first half. And I can guess that Coach Moore would probably like to have that entire series back. So Dan Hayes and the Timberlane Owls will break the huddle and come out. They are tight end flanker to the left, split end right. Shotgun for Hayes with 2 setbacks, 1 on either side in what we call a blue formation. A 3-step drop, and he's taking a shot. Well covered there by the Guertin secondary. In coverage for BG was number 6, Zachary Keenan. That pass was intended for Berube. But again, pretty good coverage there by the Guertin secondary. They knew that was coming. They were ready for it. 2nd down and 10, and again, we stopped the clock. Wonder if Coach Fitzgerald has some kind of a draw or another screen set up here. Hayes will break the huddle and he'll go unbalanced to the Guertin sideline with a wing to the right. Two backs in the backfield. Here comes that inside counter. And it's great backside blocking there. Are they going to throw it? They do not. It looked like a questionable block in the back there by Timberlane, but the flag was not thrown. So again, Timberlane running to the numbers advantage, unbalanced side with a counter play. Didn't look like it was going to have the legs to get there. Picks up a couple of blocks, maybe a questionable one on the edge. Picks up good yardage. A 1st and 10 for Timberlane on the BG 25-yard line with 5:19 to play here in the first half. Tight end to the left with a slot, wide slot right. Pistol formation for the quarterback with a fullback to his right, and it's a quarterback keeper. And Hayes bounced it, and you've got to think if he had maybe stayed behind his fullback for another half a second, that may have opened up back inside. Kyle Baker on the stop there for Guertin. Only a gain of about 2 yards for the Owls. So Guertin needs to come up with a big stop here. They've dodged a few bullets in the later stages of this first half with the muff punt, with the missed field goal. And this would be another huge turn of events if Timberlane not able to score. And they run toss into the boundary to the numbers side. And Farai Zoo with a nice run off the left-hand side. Plumlee on the stop there for Bishop Guertin, but not before Zoo picks up a first down for the Owls. They'll wind this clock once the sticks get set, but Timberlane in no hurry. They're content to let some of this clock eat away. Because while that's happening, the Guertin offense is on the sideline. Tight end to the left. Split end right with a slot. Two backs in the backfield. Hayes under center. And they run an inside counter trap, and this could go. And it does. Farai Zoo takes the inside counter handoff. Goes in from 14 yards out. And if this game does not go Bishop Guertin's way down the stretch here, you're going to look at that last series that they had the football. 20-7 now. Pignol to hold, Ross set to kick. Let's see if Guertin can get one of these. Snap is a bit high, but it's put down. The kick is good. So Ross makes up for that missed field goal. 4:08 to play here in the first half. Timberlane 21, Bishop Guertin 7. But as we have all seen, especially earlier in this game, the Bishop Guertin Cardinals don't need a lot of time to put points on the board. Rate went 1 for 1 in their scoring drive for 80 yards. And we'll see what kind of defense the Timberlane Owls will play here as they come out on what could be the last drive of the first half. Zachary Keenan, number 6, and number 32, Joey Lupo, deep for Bishop Guertin. Connor Ross ready to put his right foot into the ball from the 40-yard line. And the Guertin front 5, hands are ready. Connor Ross marks off his steps and ready to approach the ball. And it's a good one, and that's going to go a few yards deep into the end zone. No return there, touchback. Guertin will set up shop, 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line.
For a touchback, it'll be 1st and 10 Cardinals from their own 20-yard line.
So we'll see what Coach Moore has dialed in for his offense here. Still a lot of time to play here in this first half. 4 minutes and 8 seconds is a world of football here, especially when you run a hurry-up offense like Coach Moore has employed at Bishop Guertin. We also see, though, how that can work against you if you can't move the ball. It gives your opponent a lot of time. So they'll go twins to both sides, one back to Rate's left, barking signals at the line. And again, Timberlane showing that cover one look, and there's nothing doing there for the ball carrier for Guertin. And that looked to be number 20 for the Cardinals, Ben Plumley, and he was met by a host of Owls. A loss of about 1.5 yards, maybe 2. Kyle Gleason on the tackle as Timberlane sets their front. Rate barking signals. And they go right back. They fake the inside run and look for a skinny post pop pass. And it is thrown behind the wide receiver, maybe deflected by the defensive front of the Owls. So 3rd down and 11 here for the Cardinals, a big play. And so interesting. Looks like Guertin jumped off sides on that. That flag, false start. So Kearney was setting his protection a little bit early there, and that'll cost the Cardinals 5 more. So 3rd down and 16. And again, twins to each side, set back to Rate's right. And they're running the jail screen again, and it looked like Timberlane had it sniffed out pretty well there. Be interesting to see if they come back with a jail screen, look to both sides, and come with a middle screen off of that, because they are sprinting to that jail screen, which means your middle's going to be wide open. So we'll see if Guertin comes back to that in the second half. So 4th down and about 12 here for Guertin. They're going to punt. And the Owls are going to get the ball back with about 2 minutes and 40 some odd seconds to play here in the first half, depending on what happens with Rate's kick. And he fair caught it, had a lot of real estate there, but chose to fair catch it exactly at midfield. So with 2 minutes and 51 seconds to play here in the first half, the Timberlane Owls will set up shop at midfield. Timberlane comes out unbalanced to the left-hand side here. Nope, they're calling it balanced. His arm was back. So they're sending verticals. And that ball was intended for number 5, Brandon Frezza, who had a step. But Hayes' pass, not enough air under it, falls incomplete. So 2nd down and 10. Apologize for that last call. It was a tight end flanker out here, and you know that because the referee's arm was pointed back into the backfield, and these eyes originally thought it was unbalanced. Tight end wing to the top of the screen, split end down towards the home sideline. Hayes barking signals, and they come back with that counter play, and the edge once again is blocked fairly well. And again, that was Brendan Frezza, 5'10", 165-pound senior on the carry. Caleb Kearney, the name we keep saying, on the play. Another big tackle for Kearney, setting up a 3rd down and about 2 for the Owls. So tight end flanker to the right, split end left I formation behind Hayes, and they'll just pound it up inside the guard box. And he's still on his feet. Host of Guertin players trying to strip that ball out. But Farai Zoo holds onto it and gains significant yardage. They'll wind the clock once the sticks are set. No, I stand corrected. They wound them before the sticks are set, but they run the exact same play again. Isolation to the right side this time. Now you got to start thinking about timeouts if you are Timberlane. According to the scoreboard, Timberlane has 2 timeouts remaining here in the first half, and Guertin has all 3. So they'll line up and unbalance to the right-hand side. They are heavy overload to the right. We'll see if they run that counter back into the boundary. They don't, and Zoo fumbles the ball. And Timberlane calls timeout. So almost a huge turnover there for Bishop Guertin. Farai Zoo fumbled that ball, maybe was looking at where he was going instead of watching that ball come in. 3rd and 5 here for Timberlane. Coach Fitzgerald said their kicker has kicked one from 50 in practice 2 days ago, but would let him kick one from 40. Or does Timberlane say, you know what, we have 2 plays to get 5 yards and then we can stop the clock? Meanwhile, the Bishop Guertin defense tries to find an answer to stop this running game of Timberlane. Cannot afford to give up any more here. Call from the sideline is toss pass. They set up unbalanced into the boundary. And it's that counter play, and it's going to be enough for a first down by these eyes, but the referee on the home sideline has it marked just short, so they're going to have to run a play. We are just about under 1 minute, probably going to be a quarterback sneak here, and then a timeout. And he does. First down, the clock should stop here, so Timberlane got to have their next play ready to go. We'll watch the referee and see when he winds that. Should not wind that clock until those chains are set. And now he does. 50 seconds to play here. They run toss to the field. And a pretty good open field tackle there to keep the ball carrier in bounds. Looked like that was number 20 for Guertin, Ben Plumley, and number 32, Joey Lupo. And Hayes will spike the ball down to stop the clock with 31.3 seconds to play here in the first half. So here's the scenario. Timberlane has 1 timeout remaining in the first half. They can also use a first down play here to stop the clock and save that timeout. Guertin, on the other hand, looking to keep the Timberlane ball carrier in bounds. And timeout Guertin. And the interesting thing there is it looked like Timberlane was a little bit confused on where they were going to line up, and maybe they were going to have to use their last timeout. But almost a gift to the Timberlane Owls, the Guertin defense calls timeout. So Coach Moore and his staff will talk about what they have dialed in here to try and stop this Timberlane Owl attack. 3rd and 5 now, ball on the 11-yard line. So this 5+ minutes feels like a lifetime of football. And a lot has happened in the past 5 minutes. One might say it could be the turning point of the game. We'll see what happens here. Double tight end set with a power eye behind Hayes. He's barking signals at the line. And he's going to keep the ball And it's a pass, and he's got a man wide open, but there is a flag, and it is thrown into the Timberlane backfield. So an interesting call here. A rollout, keep out pass to the right-hand side goes for a Timberlane touchdown. And they had a lineman down the field. So one of the linemen left that box, which you are not allowed to do during a passing play. Unless, of course, it's some kind of a screen pass where the ball is thrown behind the line. So that is a huge play here at the end of the first half.
A 5-yard penalty to be 3rd and 10 for the Owls.
So a 3rd down and 10 play for the Owls as they line up in a double slot here, or twins to each side. And the half that will not end continues. Guertin calls another timeout with 24 seconds to play here. So the game plan for the Timberlane Owls, as was spelled out by Coach Fitzgerald, can't be one-dimensional. We have to have good sustaining drives. They're doing both of those things. For Guertin, they've had to stop the big play. They've done that for the most part. And there's a wide receiver wide open, and he didn't see it. Hayes is going to take a sack here, and he could not afford to take a sack there. Timberlane will use their last timeout. So once again, Guertin escaping a certain touchdown pass had Hayes looked to his right and seen his #1 receiver uncovered on the visitor sideline. So this is a 4th down play here. 4th down and about 14 for the Owls. A field goal here would be about a 37-yarder if Connor Ross was to put his foot into it. So will they kick the field goal, or instead will they try and get a 1st down? And it looks like Guertin will set their coverage up right at those sticks. They are willing to give up a 3 or 4 yard gain, or even an 8-yard gain. So now, unbalanced to the right-hand side, the tight end is covered. Hayes barking signals, maximum protection. He will row right, and here running the waggle throwback look, and it was actually open for about a half a second. Justin Berube protected and then rolled left. And that play made possible by the corner for Guertin, who stayed home on the backside to the boundary. So a great play there by the Guertin secondary. And I've said it 3 or 4 times, they dodge another bullet. So 12 seconds to go here in the first half. Trips to Rate's right with a setback to his right, split end to the left. And they are running a wide option looking play, almost an RPO, but a pitch instead of a throw. Hisco knocked out of bounds, so clock will stop. 2nd and about 9 with 6.3 seconds to play here in the first half. And Rate will just take a knee to end this first half. So, after 1 half of play, we've seen just about everything you can see in a high school football game. 21-7, Timberlane up on Guertin. But by no means is Bishop Guertin out of this one. They have shown the ability to strike quickly, to go the distance in a very limited amount of time, and it should set us up for a really good second half. Have some scores here to give you, and we can also give them to the press box. Entering the second quarter, Alvern 0, Keene 0. Excuse me, Keene 7, Alvern 0. Interesting score in the second. Winnicott 6, Bedford 2. North 7, Londonderry 6. Goffstown is up on Exeter 14-7. And the South Merrimack score, South leading 7-6. And now South is up 14-6 at the half. So some really interesting scores coming in here from around the state as the Bishop Guertin Marching Band takes the field.
The magic of Motown, featuring I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Dancing in the Street, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Get Ready, and I Want You Back. The band is under the direction of Mr. Brian Stark and is assisted by Mrs. Amanda Stark, with percussion instruction by Chief Master Sergeant Dave Long, United States Air Force, and drill design by Dr. Ron Fussell. The ensemble is conducted by drum majors Matt Cortez and Bridget Nail. Please welcome the Marching Cardinals. for the Bishop Guertin Marching Band. The Cardinals will receive the second half kickoff.
All right, Bishop Guertin ready to return the second half kickoff here. Ross to put his foot into the ball from his own 40-yard line. So right now, Lupo and Keenan deep to return for the Cardinals. Timberlane in their huddle. Have to be aware of an onside kick attempt here. I don't think Timberlane will do it, but they certainly could. Break the huddle now. Some scores from around the state, some interesting scores. And we'll get to those as soon as Ross puts his foot into the ball here. The last two kickoffs from Connor Ross have sailed into the Guertin end zone. And it looks like this one is going to be taken at about the 3-yard line. They run a little counter crisscross, and there is a seam there. And he could be off to the races. One man to beat is the kicker. And he doesn't get him. And there is a great example. Right there, number 32, Joey Lupo, outkicks the coverage. Connor Ross outkicks the coverage. Lupo takes the ball from his 3-yard line. They run the crisscross, and a gigantic hole opens up. So about 10 seconds into the second half, it's already 21-13. Guertin has scored 14 points on an 80-yard pass play and on a 97-yard kick return. Other than that, the yards have been hard to come by, but they are still in this thing. Rate puts the ball down for Matt Huntsman. He kicks it through, and with 11:46 to play here in the third quarter, it is Bishop Guertin with a huge kick return for a touchdown, and now the Owl lead is cut to 21-14. What a great way for the Cardinals to come out to start that second half. Unbelievable. We've seen just about everything you can see here in a football game, including the longest 5-minute period to end the first half. Some scores from around the state. Goffstown up on Exeter 14-7. Winnicunnet beating Bedford 14-2. Merrimack up 14-6 on South, and North is beating Londonderry 7-6. What do you see here? What's the common theme? There's defense being played around the state, folks. Number 4, Huntsman to put his foot into the ball. Little squib kick and a great play there by the front 5 of Timberlane. Looks like on the recovery there for Timberlane was number 50. That is Cameron Sweet, a 5'11", 175-pound junior. So Timberlane will set up shop 1st and 10 with pretty good field position here. And this Guertin defense now with something to prove, trying to get the ball back for their offense. 1st and 10, Owls. Slot to the left, tight end, right I formation. And it's an off-tackle play run there by the Owls, stacked up by a host of Cardinals. And that was number 2 for Raizu on the carry for a pickup of about 3 yards. Number 55, Caleb Kearney on the tackle. 2nd and 7 for the Owls. Slot to the right, tight end left. Hayes is back to pass. He's on a rollout, and wide open there in the right flat is number 5, Brendan Frezza. Said his name a number of times.
It'll be 1st and 10 Owls.
1st and 10 Owls on that completed pass from Hayes to Frezza. Tight end wing to the left, split end right, 2 backs behind Hayes in the backfield. And they run a fullback trap, and it is snuffed out there initially by the Guertin front 5. Flag comes in late here. The initial gain is about 4 yards, maybe 3.
Justin Berube on the carry.
Berube on the carry there.
There is a flag on the play.
Ethan Holt on the tackle, it looked like, for Guertin initially. And there's no flag on the play. Inadvertent flag, they wave it off. So that will set up a 2nd down for Timberlane from the Bishop Guertin 31-yard line. Make that the 33. Gain of 3. Third and, boy, we can't get anything right up here. What do we got? 2nd and, do I get a do-over on this? Let's see. We got 2nd on the scoreboard. We got 3rd on the field. We got a power run to the right, and it's not going to matter because number 2 is going to take this one a long way. And Farai Zoo is in for the Timberlane touchdown. So some confusion as to what down it was supposed to be and where matters not, as Zoo goes the distance on about a 33-yard run off the right tackle. Ross set to kick the extra point. Overloaded to the right side is Guertin. It is picked up there, but he makes the extra point. So with 10:35 to play here in the 3rd quarter, Timberlane answers that kick return by Guertin. Takes the football and goes 55 yards to go up 28-14.
This will be the last call on the 50-50 winning ticket. The winning number is 629-2914. Once again,
so we'll see if the Bishop Guertin kickoff return team can recreate that magic. And I'm sure Coach Fitzgerald on the sideline is telling his kicker, Connor Ross, if you can get it in the end zone, great. Let's try to not outkick our coverage, however. Have ourselves a pretty good game going on here in Nashua. Jason Roby along with Tim O'Neill, our cameraman, executive producer Pete Johnson for NashuaETV on the game of the week. Timberlane at Bishop Guertin. Kicks taken at about the 1. And they saw something on film. They attack that right hash again. And Keenan brings the ball back to about his own 29-yard line.
So the 27-yard kickoff return by Keenan. It'll be 1st and 10 Cardinals from their own 29-yard line.
So Guertin will set up shop and put trips into the boundary, slot trips into the boundary, split end left. Rate barking signals with a halfback to his right-hand side. And he gives it, and the Timberlane front 7 will have none of it. Chances of Rate pulling that ball and running a quarterback keeper to the boundary were slim and none. Timberlane sniffed that out, so they'll again go trips into the boundary with a split end at the top. Number 20, the halfback, Ben Plumley, sets up to the left. Sometimes we call him the F-back. Raitt, this is a design run all the way, and Raitt is going to take it to the left sideline and scoot himself out of bounds. Raitt picks up a couple. That was a quarterback keep design all the way. He tucked that ball under his left arm and took off. So 3rd and 7 here for Raitt and the Cardinals. Trips to the right again, now to the field. Split end to the top of the screen. They check the play at the sideline. Halfback Plumlee to Raitt's right-hand side. A 3-step drop, and the rush gets to Raitt, but somehow he gets out of there like Houdini, throws it to the sideline. That ball falls incomplete for Victor Giletto. How Raitt got out of there, I have no idea. He was making something out of nothing. He escapes the quarterback sack. But unfortunately for Guertin, that'll set up a 4th down for them, and they send the punt team on. Don't forget, Raitt is the punter as well. Not the time to do it, but something you have to be aware of here later in the game. Frezza and Berube deep for the Owls. It is a low line drive kick that's going to bounce out of bounds, take a Timberlane roll. The Owls will set up shop, 1st and 10 at their own 42-yard line. So the Timberlane defense playing pretty well out there tonight. Guertin kept into this by the big play. The kickoff return, the 97-yard kickoff return, the 80-yard pass play. Timberlane sustaining some drives here and showing the ability to go the distance. 28-14, 9:36 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Tight end wing, right wing comes in motion to a slot set, and they'll run toss with a pull. A great kick out block there, cuts back against the grain. So turning something out of nothing is number 8, Justin Berube. Kyle Baker on the tackle, but not before Berube goes for 9 yards. Extremely important here that Guertin get off the field with good field position. BG has not had a short field all night to operate on. BG is going to put 8 men in the box. Tight end wing to the right, I formation. And a good tough run right there by Farai Zoo as he gets the 1st down for Timberlane. Bishop Guertin committed 8 men into the box. That's 8 guys up on the line of scrimmage within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. They had to stop that 1st down play, and Farai Zoo just made a nice run off the right side. Kept his legs driving. Clock winds. 1st and 10, Timberlane from the Bishop Guertin 34-yard line. They will set up unbalanced to the left-hand side here. I formation behind Hayes. In a stack formation, and they run a bubble screen. So the bubble screen out to the field, completed to number 5, Brandon Frezza. Knocked out of bounds there by number 6, Zach Keenan. But a 2nd and 1 play nonetheless. Now, a lot of times what you tell yourself is 2nd and 1 is a free play. Do we go for a money shot here on 2nd and short like this, or do we just get the 1st and try to keep the clock moving? Unbalanced into the boundary. Stacked receivers again, I formation behind Hayes. And they will just run an ISO play, and that is going to be stacked up for a loss right there. Number 25 on the carry for Timberlane. That was Matt Licata, but he was stacked up by number 40. Looked like Soroyce on the tackle. Number 40, Sam Soroyce. So a big play here. Probably in 4-down territory is Timberlane, so they have 2 plays to get 2 yards. Unbalanced to the right. And that's going to be a quarterback keeper all the way, and we'll see what happens. He had him in the backfield. Ethan Holt had him for a loss. It was a cloudy, clear play. If it's cloudy, you keep scraping. If it's clear, you shoot the gap. Holt shot the gap and just missed a tackle for loss. It looks like Hayes picks up the first down, but they're going to measure it. So it'll either be 1st and 10 or 4th down and a credit card.
Officials time out on the field for measurement.
Pretty anxious folks up here in the press box as the Owls get the first down, waiting to see who wins the 50-50 raffle here.
All right, we're going to ticket number 2 for the 50-50 raffle. It's a blue ticket.
So they are digging deep. It's the second ticket. Whoever picked that first ticket must have left early. They're missing a great game and they're missing some money. Tight end wing to the left, split end to the top. And just a buck sweep run there by the Timberlane Owls as Zoo again off the left-hand side. Some good blocking up front by the offensive lineman of Timberlane.
Gain of 4 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 6 for the Owls.
Hayes breaks the huddle. We have a tight end wing to the left, split into the right. 2 backs in the backfield behind Hayes in the wing T look. Motion to the slot set. And that play is going to get stacked up. Had no chance right from the get-go. Too late in developing. And good penetration by the BG front 7 as Berube goes for a loss. That tackle right there was by Soroyce, number 40, Sam Soroyce. So 3rd and 7 for Timberlane here. So double slot set. Hayes goes into the shotgun. Motion into the backfield, and they'll run that counter play back into the boundary, which has been a killer for BG. He's going to be short by about a yard, so it's going to bring up an interesting call here at 4th down and 1.
Tackled by Joey Lupo. Gain of 6 on the play. It'll be 4th and 1 for the Owls.
Fourth down and 1, Timberlane, and what could be the play of the game. Inside, and look to these eyes like number 58. Kyle Gleason jumped off sides there. So that could change the play altogether. 4th and 6 now for Timberlane. Clock winding. We are inside of 5 minutes. Guertin needing a big stop here defensively. Hayes barking signals, takes the snap. And that ball was underthrown, and if it was a little bit higher, that could have been an interesting scenario for Guertin. It could have been a pick 6. On the coverage there was Keenan. It was intended for Frezza, but it fell low and incomplete, so Guertin will take over on downs. Talking to Coach Moore, who are the guys you look to? Who are the guys you lean on in situations like this? Some of the names you've heard all night tonight: Caleb Kearney, Sam Colantoni, Nick Stiletto. These are guys that, if Guertin's going to come back here, are going to have to lead this team. 1st and 10, Guertin from their own 21-yard line. 2-by-2 set. Rate sets up. Halfback number 20, Ben Plumley, to his right. Barking signals his Rate. And that inside zone is a quarterback keeper, and it gets snuffed for nothing. Timberlane does its job. Everybody's accounted for, but a flag comes flying in from the second level.
Tackle on the play by Guertin.
So a lot of penalty flags littering the ground tonight here at Stellos Stadium in Nashua. At first glance, it appears to be a face mask on Timberlane. So that's a big, big play. So you have to avoid those kinds of penalties in a game like this. You want Guertin to have to go the length of the field. You don't want to give him any freebies. Bishop Guertin operating a lot from their own side of the 50 tonight. Gets a little bit of breathing room. And again, the quick strike ability of Sam Rate and company could pose a problem to this Timberlane front in the waning moments of the third quarter. Rate barking signals in the 2-by-2 set. Cousins down to the right. Rate pulls it and takes off down the boundary. And he's going to have enough for a first down. Rate made a great read on the edge there. He faked the inside zone, saw the defensive end bend down the line of scrimmage, pulled it, and took off for daylight. 2-by-2 set again for the Guertin offense. Rate barking signals at the line of scrimmage. Halfback Plumley is to his left. Change the play at the line of scrimmage. Plumley scoots over to the right. The front adjusts for Timberlane, and as that happens, the left tackle for Guertin comes out of his three-point stance, and once you pick your hand up off the ground, if you are not a tight end, it is a penalty. So 1st and 15 here for the Cardinals. 43-yard line. Official Jim Lally up here assisting me on making some of these calls. Much appreciated. Trips right into the boundary. A V-trips look, split end to the left. Plumley lining up to Rate's left-hand side. Rate barking signals, takes the snap and keeps it. He pulls it, breaks back across the grain. He's to the 40, the 30, knocked out of bounds at about the Timberlane 25-yard line. And a great read there by Rate. Read his blocks, read the front. The pull key right there. Bent on that fake handoff. 1st and 10, Guertin. Something cooking here. And they run the jail screen. It's snuffed out, but a gain of 5 nonetheless for Guertin. That pass completed to number 6, Zachary Keenan. But they shoot themselves in the foot, and we have a block in the back on Guertin. Early indications. So what started out as a 2nd and 5, very manageable, it's going to turn into a negative play for Bishop Guertin.
The initial call is a block in the back by the Cardinals.
So they'll march that back. 10-yard penalty. It's going to be about 2nd down and 18 for Guertin from the Timberlane 33-yard line. Clock winds with 3:28 to play here in the third quarter. Rate barking signals, and they got Timberlane to jump. So a neutral zone infraction. They're going to get 5 of those yards back right now. Can't stress enough how important field position is in high school football.
It'll be 1st and 13 for the Cardinals.
Guertin coming out in a tight V trips look to the field, split end to the left. Trying to outnumber him at the point of attack. Rate will roll to his right, three-tiered routes. Fires, and that ball nearly intercepted. Tried to get it to where only his receiver, Austin Hisco, could get it. 2nd and 13, incomplete pass stops the clock. NashuaETV, Jason Roby here, along with Tim O'Neill on the camera. Executive producer Pete Johnson in the game of the week. Bishop Guertin hosting Timberlane. Guertin checks the play. Again, a tight V trips look, split end to the left. They will send Plumlee to Rate's left as he checks his wristband for the play. And the read there was for Rate to keep the ball, but that was snuffed out by number 8, Justin Berube, a 5'10", 164-pound linebacker, a senior for the Owls. So Guertin goes backwards on that play. Loss of 4 brings up 3rd and 17. And again, you don't have a lot of 17-yard plays in your playbook. Got to believe here that this is 4-down territory for Guertin, being down 2 scores inside of 2:30 to play. And Guertin's going to call a timeout here. Looked like a misunderstanding with the play call. So with 2:33 to play here in the 3rd quarter, Guertin is down by a pair of scores, 28-14, but is threatening, although they do have 17 yards to get a 1st down. The coaches are talking it over on the sideline. Some great games around the state tonight. If you're watching this on tape delay, but at present time, Goffstown up 21-7, and now 28-7 Goffstown over Exeter with 3 minutes left in the 3rd. Londonderry's up on North 13-6 at the end of 3 quarters. So some interesting scores from around the state, especially that Goffstown score. Twins to both sides. Timberlane confused as to who should line up where. Rate takes the snap, 3-step drop, gonna roll to his right. Fires, and that ball is intercepted. And we've said his name quite a few times tonight, number 58, Kyle Gleason. That ball was intended for number 2, Victor Giletto. And I'll tell you, if that ball's caught by Giletto, he's got a long way to run. He might not be touched. So great coverage. Jumping underneath that route was Kyle Gleason, and if it was a little higher, Giletto was off to the races. But instead, Timberlane will take over, 1st and 10 on their own 34-yard line. Timberlane breaks the huddle, wing right, a wing T formation. Just a puck sweep. Host of Bishop Guertin defenders stacks up Zoo. Initial tackle there looked like tackle by number 87, Kyle Baker and Sam Sorois. So a 2nd down and about 8 for Timberlane as the clock continues to run inside of 2 minutes here in the 3rd quarter. And even if Timberlane does not score here, they'll be content to just run this clock down as much as they possibly can. Back in their wing T look. Hayes barking signals, and they run the fullback trap. Guertin there, ready for it. Just a gain of about 1, maybe 2 yards. Going to bring up a 3rd down and about a long 4. Kearney there on the tackle for Bishop Guertin again. Number 78, Caleb Kearney, having a very busy game defensively here tonight. So slot trips to the right, tight end left, 1 back. Hayes will roll to his right, and he takes a shot. at a dig route, the intermediate route there. Again, they've had that route all night long, the intermediate route. So Hayes completes the pass to number 8, Justin Berube. And once again, another first down for Timberlane as they get into Bishop Guertin territory. 1st and 10 at about the 47-yard line of BG. Slot to the right, tight end is left. I formation behind Hayes. Here comes the counter, and they have the edge. Freza on the carry. Brett Anderson coming up, making a big play there off the edge. Fought across the face of a crack block, ripped across it. Made a pretty good tackle, but not before. Frezzo goes for about 5, maybe 6. And that's going to bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter. So with 3 quarters down and 1 to play, your score, Timberlane Owls 28, the Bishop Guertin Cardinals 14. Bishop Guertin in need here of a huge stop, not only to get the ball back, but to maintain some field position. Guertin's been known for the big play, the kick return, the 80-yard touchdown pass. Sam Raitt using his legs to gain yardage. Only resulted in 14 points, however, for the Cardinals. Game plan of Timberlane has been very clear this evening. Pound the football, run the clock, move the sticks, get out of Dodge. They've done all but one of those things, and they're going to see if they can complete it in this 4th quarter. 12 minutes to play here. A win here is huge for both of these teams. You don't want to start out 0-3 in your league. As it works, the West plays the South. The winner of each of those conferences will make it to the postseason, and then the next 2 best records. So you could have 3 teams from one conference making the playoffs and only the winner from one side making it in. So in order to keep pace with the rest of the conference, you have to win here tonight. So it should be 2nd and 5. According to Jim Lally, our official up here in the press box with us, they're going to talk about it. I'm putting my money on Jim. He's batting 1,000 here tonight. Okay. All right. So the chains have been reset. Hayes ready to get the offense underway here for Timberlane. They look to the sideline, call the play. Tight end flanker left, split end right, 2 backs. And the counter again, and they like that counter play. It's worked with some degree of success for Timberlane all night here. Justin Berube on the carry. Guertin stays home, and Ethan Holt with a big tackle, setting up 3rd down and about 3. So Holt's ability to stay home on the backside gives Guertin a chance. 11:34 and counting here in the 4th quarter. Timberlane sets up in their wing T offense. Tight end wing to the right, split end left, 2 backs behind. They try to run trap, and there's a fumble between the exchange with Hayes and Berube. And that trap's a quick hitter, so you have to wonder if Hayes' steps weren't consistent with where they should have been, or if Berube's did not take the right steps as well. Should be a straight ahead run. So 4th down for Timberlane, and they're going to punt this one away. early in the game. A couple of muffed punt returns for Guertin resulted in great field position and ultimately a score for Timberlane. We'll see what happens here. Number 58 to put his left foot into it, and he does, and it's angled towards the left sideline. So Kyle Gleason's punt goes out of bounds at about the Bishop Guertin 25-26 yard line. Cardinals will set up shop at their own 26. Imperative that the Cardinals come away with some points here in this drive. So here we go. Twins to the left, slot to the boundary. Rate taking the handoff, he rolls back. A great play design there as number 5, Austin Hisco, comes from the boundary back across the field. Rate rolls to his left and finds him. So a good design, but the result of the play is only 1 yard. 2nd down and 9. And they'll line up again. Twins to the far right and into the boundary to the left. Quick out route knocked down there is Rate's pass. Number 50 knocked that ball down for Timberlane. That was Cameron Sweet. And usually when you run a play like that, especially into the boundary, you're going to ask your offensive tackle to cut the defensive end so he can't get his hands up and block that pass. Twins to both sides. Rate barking signals, tries to get Timberlane to jump. They'll have none of it. Checking the play. Sends Plumlee to his right to the field. And it's a now route to the number 2 receiver there. And what they're doing is they're just gonna take what the defense gives. Is that quick pass, we call a now route to Austin Hisco, picks up about 5 yards. 4th down play, Guertin gonna go for it here. Tries to get him to jump, a good idea. A free play would have been worth a 1st down. They check the play. And it looks like Guertin gonna call their 2nd timeout. So with 9:28 to play here at Stellos Stadium, Guertin faced with a huge 4th down. 4th and a long 2 for the Bishop Guertin Cardinals. It'll be interesting to see here if Timberlane jumps into some press coverage and Guertin checks the play to a fade route. Or do you put it on the legs of your quarterback? Some type of play action, give him the option, maybe an RPO. Haven't seen a lot of that tonight. So right now that Guertin sends the punt team onto the field. Maybe a good move there by Coach Moore, but don't forget the punter is Sam Rate, who is also the quarterback. Guertin lining up in their spread punt formation. Important to remember who the eligible receivers are in this particular formation. Timberlane adjusts accordingly. Looks like they have it snuffed out. And no question here, he's punting it. Goes to the left hash, takes a Bishop Guertin roll and goes out of bounds at about the Timberlane 34-yard line. So a pretty good punt there by Rate. No return for the Owls. They'll set up shop 1st and 10 at their own 34-yard line. So BG comes into tonight with a couple of losses. They lost Londonderry week 1, 55-21, and week 2, 42-19 to Merrimack. Hayes calling signals and backs are in the I formation behind him. two hands on the football there. Ball security, obviously the focus here for Timberlane as they try to run this clock out. Farai Zoo with a very busy night tonight. Baker on the tackle for Guertin, bringing up a 2nd down and a long 6. Timberlane, week 1, loses to Nashua North 48-24, and week 2 drops a 27-7 decision to Londonderry. So both of these teams pressed for a victory here tonight. Timberlane comes out in a tight end wing to the right, split end left I formation set up behind Hayes. They'll motion across the formation to a slot set, and they're going to put it to the friendly skies. And that pass is completed to number 5, Brendan Frezza. Hayes' pass complete, but I'll tell you, that ball was thrown a little bit inside and could have just as easily been picked off. So, huge play there for Timberlane, and Coach Fitzgerald told me we can't be one-dimensional. We have to be able to throw the ball, especially if they're going to put guys in the box. They show the ability to do it there. Tight end flanker to the right, what we call a pro set, pro right split I. Center quarterback exchange was a little shaky, but Zhao is off to the races. The timing looked like it was thrown off a little bit with the center quarterback exchange, but Farai Zhao races down for another huge run. Tanner McLaughlin there on the stop for Bishop Guertin. Huge gain for Timberlane, 40 yards. The clock continues to run, 8:14 and counting here as Timberlane looks to go up by a 3rd score. Bishop Guertin needs to make something happen here as Timberlane lines up in a double tight end power I set. Hayes takes the snap. It's a double isolation play. Zhao hits it up in there, looks to cut back against the grain, is stacked up at about the 7-yard line. Make that the 6. Zoo was stacked up there.
4 on the play. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 6-yard line.
Second and goal from the 6 for Timberlane. Double tight end, power I right. And they're going to throw it again. Hayes rolls out, still churning his feet, slammed down to the turf, but not before he gets to about the 1-yard line. Tackled there by number 8, Aiden Pasquale, and Joey Lupo on the tackle for Guertin. So a big 3rd down play here for Timberlane. 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Gotta believe they'll be in 4-down territory here, and even if they don't score, Guertin will have to go 99 yards. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Hayes calling signals. He'll try and run the quarterback sneak. And he just follows his offensive line, and they push him in. So Hayes scores from a yard out. Timberlane goes up 34-14 with the extra point to come. Snap is down, ball is up, and the kick is good, but there's another penalty flag thrown on the play. Looked like they hit the center, which you are not allowed to do in high school football. Can't cover him, can't hit him. And it appears that maybe they did. At least that was the call. Nope, we stand corrected. So, Jim Lally misses his first call of the night. 1 for 70, Jim. Percentages are real good, though. Jim, I'm undefeated up here. I haven't lost a game from up here, right? So the try for the extra point. Well, if the penalty was on Timberlane, they will try again. They will back them up.
Penalty. The ball will be spotted at the 8-yard line.
Next week, BG will play Keene here at Stellos Stadium, according to the schedule. Oh, it'll be played at Bishop Guertin. Okay.
And the extra point is good by Colorado.
Ross's extra point this time is up and good, so 35-14. So next week, Bishop Guertin will host Keene High School at Bishop Guertin High School. Timberlane will host Salem High School. Going back deep for the Cardinals once again, number 32. That's Joey Lupo, and number 6, Zachary Keenan. Ross has had a pretty busy night tonight. He'll kick the ball off once again. Cardinals looking to recreate some magic on this kick return, which would be huge to get him back to within 2 scores with a lot of time left on the clock. Ross set to kick. And it's a good one. Falls bobbled there at the 1. Good sportsmanship there. As Cam Lovett helps Joey Lupo to his feet. So a 27-yard return for Lupo. 1st and 10, Guertin, 29-yard line, and you're going to see what we call NASCAR here, I'm thinking. They're probably just going to come to the line and try and get as much going as they possibly can. Motion across the formation to a tight V trips look. Great rolls to his right. And that pass incomplete. Intended to number 5, Austin Hisco. So 2nd and 10 for Guertin. Play comes in from the sideline. They'll just line up in the tight V-trips look with a split end to the left. Rate barking signals. Single setback is Plumley to Rate's right. 1-step drop, slant, and again that ball batted and intercepted. That ball intercepted by Timberlane, by Robert Horgan. And Coach Fitzpatrick talked about him prior to the game. He makes a huge play. And again, with those quick throws over the middle, no cut block, straight up blocking, 1-step drop, ball intercepted. 1st and 10, Timberlane. And of course, those cut block rules have changed over the years. They have to happen right now or it's a penalty. As Timberlane motions to a slot right. Out of the eye, they hand the ball off to Zoo again. He's had a very busy night. Farai Zoo over the left side picks up 6 more yards. Clock continues to run here in the 4th quarter, 5:52 and counting. So a lot of penalties tonight, some mistakes in the special team game. lot to work on here after week 3 of the season. Toss sweep to the field. Another penalty flag litters the ground. Justin Berube there on the carry for Timberlane.
Justin Berube on the carry.
Tackled by Ethan Holt for Bishop Guertin. 44, it's going to be a hold on Timberlane. So not the cleanest of games that we've seen here. But both teams playing hard to the very end. Timberlane coming on the road. Going to come away with a big victory here. Still a lot of time left on the clock. But looking like they have this in control. Tight end to the right. Slot trips to the left. One back to Hayes' left. And he's going to roll to his left, and he's going to keep it. Not sure if he intended to roll to his left and throw, but Hayes takes the ball and gets a pretty sizable gain. 3rd down and about a long one.
Hayes on the carry.
I don't have the stats here in front of me, but I'd really like to see how many offensive plays Timberlane has run here tonight. 4:30 and counting in the 4th quarter. Hayes barking signals from under center, and it's a quarterback keeper. So he'll get the 1st down.
Dan Hayes on the quarterback keeper. Tackled by Ethan Holt.
Clock continues to run. 1st and goal for Timberlane from the Bishop Guertin 7-yard line. BG defense lines up in press coverage. That isolation play bounces to the outside. Host of Guertin players stack up Zoop for a gain of about 1, maybe 2. Holt again in on the stop.
Gain of 2 on the play. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line.
2nd and goal from the 5-yard line for Timberlane. And as we mentioned earlier, Timberlane coming from the South Conference where there's Londonderry, Merrimack, Pinkerton, and Salem. So they had to win here tonight to keep their postseason hopes alive. And you don't like to talk postseason week 3, but that's what they all play for. Try and get to that 2nd season. Unbalanced to the right, toss sweep. And another flag comes flying in from the secondary, probably another hold. Or maybe a block in the back. So Timberlane again flagged for holding. Those are things that down the road in closer games are going to cost you. Got to work on those. So that 10-yard spot foul will march Timberlane back. 2nd and goal from about the 17-yard line of Bishop Guertin. So next week, Bishop Guertin will play a Keene Blackbird team. They'll still be looking for that 1st win. Hayes will keep the ball. He'll get stacked up as the clock continues to run. So after tonight, if Nashua North were to lose, and I don't have the score in front of me just yet, the West Conference, after 3 weeks, will have 2 wins. So a lot of work to do, a lot of football left to be played this season. Right now, the Bishop Guertin staff talking to their players, trying to keep them positive. Because there are things that you can build on here as a program. There are things that you can continue to improve on as you head into week 4. And you know they're going to look at the film, and while there's some things that you're not going to be pleased with, both sides, regardless of which team wins, you got to accentuate the positives. You got to build on the positives. And both of these coaching staffs will do that. Tight end to the right, slot to the left. And they'll hand it off again to Zoo. And he be stacked up by a host of Cardinals, led by number 48 there. Ryan Cody, the senior defensive lineman. And they're going to call a fumble, so Zoo gets stacked up. They strip the ball from Zoo, and he looks to still be on the ground, slow to get up. Pasquale on the fumble recovery. And this is not a good sign for the Timberlane Owls. So with 2:17 to play here in the game, Bishop Guertin is going to take over. On their own 16-yard line. There's an injury timeout on the field as the training staff from Timberlane take a look at Farai Zoo, who was stacked up on that play. He gets a nice round of applause from both sides as he makes his way under his own power to the sideline, and that's a good sign. So now Bishop Guertin will take over possession deep in their own territory, looking for a big play here. Doubles to both sides. Right from the shotgun. Plumlee in the backfield to his right. Timberlane playing very soft in the secondary here. They'll be willing to give up those quick passes. Good stick there. Lupo on the reception. Looked like Vaughn on the tackle for Timberlane. And it looks like a cramp maybe. So he'll come out of the game, does number 32, Joey Lupo. Report inside the numbers. And they do, so we have twins to both sides, one back to Rate's left. Here's Plumlee. They throw the now route.
Intended for Austin Hisco.
Ball thrown just a little bit high, goes through Hisco's hands, setting up a 3rd and 7 for Guertin with 1:39 to play here in the ball game. Rate will roll to his left, gets a nice block on the edge, throws across his body, and that pass is complete, out of bounds. So first down, pass completes to number 6, Zach Keenan. Hisco rolls left, throws against his body, pass completed out of bounds. So good for a BG first down. And the clock will wind on the reset of the stick, so we didn't get out of bounds. Rate will keep this one.
Sam Raid on the keeper. Tackle by Cameron Sweet. Gain of 2 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 8. Sam Raid's pass is incomplete. Intended for Zachary Keenan.
Rate's pass, intended for Keenan, gets airmailed to the BG sideline. That's going to set up 3rd and 8. Into the third quarter, Alvern leads 14-7 at last check. Dover up on Concord, 35-23. Londonderry got 2 quick scores to go up 20-14 on North in the fourth quarter. Goffstown 28-7 over at Exeter as Rate drops back to pass. Eludes the pressure once, but not twice. As he is run down there. Looked like number 8, Justin Berube. Gain of 1. 4th down and 7 here. South up on Merrimack 27-13. Now 27-20 South over Merrimack. Londonderry up by 5 over North, 26-21 in the fourth quarter. Good one going on there in Londonderry. Rate scrambles, tries to keep it alive. And they're going to call either a loss on downs or fumble. It's not going to matter. They're going to get the ball right there. So Rate scrambled trying to get the first down and comes up just short. They are going to call a fumble on the play covered by Berube. So 1st and 10. Timberlane with about 17.3 seconds to play in this one. Nice show of sportsmanship there as the offensive and defensive fronts for both teams kind of shake hands before the last play. Hayes will go under center and he'll take a knee in the victory formation. So this one here at Stellos Stadium in Nashua is going to go final, where the Timberlane Owls of Plastow will pick up their first win of the year, 35-14 over Bishop Guertin. So what that does is it sets up another big game next week for Bishop Guertin as they host the Keene Blackbirds.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the game tonight. Please drive home safely.
So once again, at the end of tonight's game, Bishop Guertin falls to Timberlane High School 35-14. Timberlane came in with a game plan of running the football, keeping the Guertin offense off the field, and they were able to do so, playing tight defense when they had to. Game had a lot of penalties in it, some turnovers, and unfortunately didn't work out for the Guertin Cardinals tonight. But they'll be back, they'll rebound, they'll have another tough week of practice. They'll come back and play Keene. They'll host them at Bishop Guertin High School, while Timberlane will host Salem High School. So a big win for the Owls tonight as they defeat Bishop Guertin. While it's back to the drawing board for the Cardinals. My name is Jason Roby. It's been my pleasure to call the game for you here tonight on Nashua's ETV. Next week we'll have the Battle of the Bridge games coming up between Nashua North and Nashua South, and at last count, South was up on Merrimack by 2 scores, while North was behind Londonderry in the fourth quarter, which will set up a huge game in the Western Conference next week. John Collins and Tom King will have that game for you. Tim O'Neill was on the moving pictures tonight. Pete Johnson was the executive producer. Once again from Stellos Stadium, I'm Jason Roby. Good night, folks.